Thank you,
Recognized
Mr.
for
Chair.
questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate this hearing very much. In 1999, the Olympic pipeline exploded, killing 3 people in Bellingham, Washington. In response to this tragedy, the Pipeline Safety Trust was created to hold pipeline companies and the government accountable in improving pipeline safety. So very much appreciate, Mr. Caram, you being here today. A few years later, in 2004, following the increased calls for better oversight, Congress established the Pipeline Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, PHMSA, a new agency dedicated to pipeline safety. So, however, as we sit here today, 26 years later, it's clear that we still need to do more because these incidents can have unbelievable impacts. Over the last 20 years, pipeline incidents have caused 257 deaths and more than 1,000 injuries and over $11 billion in damages. Excuse me if this has been brought up in the hearing thus far. I don't know if it has, but this is really important data. And that's an average of 12 fatalities and 51 injuries and $550 million of property damage per year. So we need to do better. Just last month in Lexington, Missouri, a 5-year-old boy died when a contractor hit a pipeline that had not been properly marked by a pipeline company, causing a leak and an explosion. And since 2019, the last time the committee considered pipeline safety, a number of significant issues have emerged, and I know from your testimony that those have been discussed today. But I wanted to ask you, Mr. Caram, since just this year, we know those averages I just mentioned, but during the Trump administration, in the first 3 months, I feel like we have less than 2 enforcement cases. Are you concerned about this?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. We are concerned about the drop-off of enforcement. We haven't seen it in previous administrations. Enforcement cases initiated have generally been consistent throughout administrations, regardless of party. So we are concerned to see this drastic, sudden drop-off.
Well, I am sending a letter to Mr. Kochman today asking him about this and asking him about the recent data and just, you know, I want to do everything we can to prevent, and if there's something that has happened that is actually preventing this, or we're just not seeing the enforcement. So we need to understand what's happening. So I will be sending him a letter today asking about enforcement actions. I also wanted to ask you, my state is very prone to landslides and certainly potential, as we call it, the big one, earthquake. According to the USGS, 44% of the country is at risk, though, of experiencing landslides and people who live in these earthquake-prone zones. So they have, I think, a voluntary standard at PHMSA, but what should we be doing to think about this? And I don't know whether that Missouri case had anything to do with land moving or not, but.
The Missouri case did not, but many recent pipeline incidents have been caused by these factors called geohazards. I think we've learned a lot more about pipeline failures, and we are able to attribute more and more to geohazards. It is not specifically called out in the regulations. Operators on high consequence areas are required to identify all potential risks and mitigate against those, and that ostensibly would include geohazards. But we would like to see specific geohazard regulations called out by name and spelled out prescriptively and performance-based throughout the regulations. PHMSA has issued a voluntary advisory bulletin. The industry has developed a relatively strong standard around geohazard mitigation, and it's time to incorporate geohazard regulations.
Well, we probably didn't quite imagine either until we had Osa, Washington, how devastating a landslide could be and killed 40 people when literally the side of a mountain exploded. And so I do think with change in conditions, we definitely need to think about this. What about material issues? This candy factory in Reading, Pennsylvania, killing 7 people and injuring 10 others. The NTSB found the cause was a pipe made out of aldol A, which I guess is subject to failure. What do we need to do to make sure that that kind of material doesn't exist in pipes?
Yes, aldol A plastic has been known to be an issue, a material prone to failure for decades. Again, a voluntary advisory PHMSA bulletin has been out for quite some time. In addition to that awful West Reading failure. There was a failure in South Jordan, Utah that killed a 15-year-old boy. We don't know the exact cause, but we do know that Adelaide was also part of that failure. I think we know enough and we've seen enough failures that it's time to have operators find all of this Adelaide and take it out of their system.
Thank you. Thank you. All of these statistics, Mr. Chairman, are just striking to me that we still have this much, 12 fatalities, 51 injuries, and $550 million in property damage every year. It's too many. So I look forward to working with you and the chairman on these issues. Thank you.